a Monday morning right out the chute with real market information. Well, I know I called you over the weekend because there's a lot of activity in the jumbo loan department. Let's just jump right in and talk a little bit about what's going on with jumbo loans right now.
Yep, jumbo loans is very active in our market. Jumbo loan, for people listening, just means you're going to get a loan for more than $510,400. So if you borrow over $510,400, it's considered a jumbo loan. So with 20% down, the rates are a little bit higher. They're mid threes. So unlike conventional mortgages below that, they're at like 2.75. But little trick, a lot of those people already have cash. So with 25% down, you can get almost 1% lower. You can get down below 3% just with an extra 5% down on a jumbo loan. So
that's exciting. Oh, sorry about that.
No worries. So the investors, they like to see you have a little bit more skin in the game. So a larger down payment in the jumbo market translates to a lower rate, where the opposite is true with a conventional loan. More money down on a conventional loan does not mean a lower rate, which is kind of weird because in the past, the more down you had, the better the rate. Doesn't always mean that now.
So when we're talking jumbo, what are we going up to? What number are we going up to on a purchase?
So we usually go to about 3.5 million. So 3.5 million, when you start getting over that, it's like a super jumbo. So that market, you don't really see a whole lot of that right now, but 3.5 million and under is kind of where we are right now today.
And what sort of credit rating does an individual need to have for one of these jumbo loans?
You want to be over 720, so 720 and up. Really 740 is going to get you the best pricing. And then another little caveat is they want to see reserves now. So what does reserves mean? So for every property that you own, you have to show 6 months reserves. So 1 month reserve would be 1 month's mortgage payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And you need that for each property owned. So they want to be able to see that you have some assets, so that if something goes wrong, you have enough money, a cushion, to cover the monthly expenses.
Well, speaking of cushions, we've seen businesses all over the United States reorganize and come to Florida because of our environment is really consumer friendly. If somebody wants a fabulous home and a fabulous neighborhood and a great job, this is one of the places to be. So employee retention is very high. And those business owners are some of the people buying these larger homes and larger price points. When you're talking about this reserve, this is now is point A to point Z. We want to make sure that these folks have enough business savvy to be buying something this large and also running their business in the times that we see. Is that the undercurrent there?
Yeah, we do, and we look at everything. So there's no more stated income, stated assets. So that you always mention jobs in these videos, which is amazing. So jobs drive the economy, they drive the market. People are moving here, and just like you said, I'm working with a gentleman from the San Francisco area that's shutting down his 2 restaurants there. He's going to open up a restaurant here in Sarasota in Florida because, like you said, it's consumer friendly. Taxes are better for him here than they are there. And you just saw the great news on Friday. It looks like our restaurants are finally going to open back up, at full capacity if they choose to. It'd be interesting to see how that goes.
Very interesting. We're all excited. And Tampa, Florida, and Cincinnati, Ohio happen to be 2 very big test markets in the United States for food, for dining, and we're part of that greater Tampa industrial footprint, aren't we?
We are, because like you mentioned before, if you live where we live in Sarasota, Manatee, the interstate, you can get to St. Peter, Tampa within 45 or 50 minutes. You can get south down into the Port Charlotte area, Punta Gorda down that way. So the job market is very strong in our corridor.
It's that would say lead right into why last week in Sarasota, in the last 7 days, Sarasota County, we had 222 closings, of which 155 were single-family homes. For the 3rd week in a row, we are staying at that same average price of $283,820. That's not a blip. It just is what Dave and I have been looking for. Where is that stabilization point coming? And because we've seen increase every week since we've been talking for at least 120 days. So the high price was on SiestaKey this last week for $2.35 million. It was listed for 2.549, and from the day that it was under contract to the day it closed last week was 260 days. Now, Manatee County, John Cannon, when they build a model home, they'll put it under contract, a lease purchase, and have it built and finished so that people can come see what they have. They had the high price in Manatee County last week at 14803 Como Circle for $2.7 million. And the listing information, if you don't know how to read that information, it was on the market 724 days. And it took, from the time they took that option contract, you and I both know that builder does that, it was 655 days. So they had that built for about 100 days before somebody came in and said, yeah, I'll give you $2.7 million for that home, and then you'll lease it back to me while you show the whole world this home. And we know that the furniture package of that home comes with the home, doesn't it?
It does, and that's you know, some of those furniture packages are quite expensive. On resale homes and condominiums, as a lender, that gets into it when you write these contracts. We can't add furniture into the sales contracts and lending because we don't know how much value it is. So when you buy these turnkey furnished properties, you have to do a separate addendum removing the furniture. You can still keep it, but the lender doesn't want to know about it because then it adds value to the property.
That is not quite a don't ask, don't tell, don't talk about situation, but when it becomes to be a material part of the transaction, it's important to maintain that professional standard for realtors anywhere where you are in the United States. If furniture comes with that package and that has value, then it needs to be a separate line item, because when we're in the MLS, we're looking to demonstrate home, land and home value, and furniture is not real property. Correct. So that might be a difference why that closing price was 2.7 and it was on the market for 2.5. That home at that, you know, it was thousands of square feet. It probably had at least $200,000 worth of furniture. Now, I don't want to go too far off on the furniture thing, but when people are moving in here right now, in the last 100 days, we've had more same-day closings than we've ever had before, because people have to move. They want to know where they're moving to. They have a contingency in the Florida contract. It's really important for us to watch every element of that, especially when we're doing business with states that are attorney review, because that attorney is managing the whole process. And everything can be delayed for a week if that attorney goes on vacation. But just back to, right, and you and I are talking about the marketplace, but you and I already know that the business we're doing right now determines what's happening at Christmas, what's happening at New Year's. You and I do business on Christmas and New Year's because that's when humans are making decisions. They're out with their family. They want to be in by Valentine's Day. So we obviously take time off when there's not that sort of pressure to help the people move. And back to the furniture, one last snippet. We have companies here, not just Goodwill, Iverson's, that if that homeowner says, you know, this is a brand new house to me, and at a $2 million price point, it is nothing for them to go out and spend $200,000 worth of furniture. They very well will give all that furniture away or send it over to Iverson any given day in our marketplace. If you're moving here or if you're transitioning in this area, check Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist any given day, and you're going to find brand new furniture that's never really been sat in, except for people coming into that model home, and it's in tip-top condition. Things like that exist in our market, don't they, Dave?
No, they do, and you're always talking about it too. And you know, when you say you work and you do things, I saw a thing and I thought about you because it says if you're looking for a home in the suburbs, good luck. So is everybody else. So I giggle because we have an inventory shortage like most of the country, which are driving prices. But you mentioned our prices have kind of stayed steady for the last couple of weeks. So what a great time to buy, right? we work with a lot of buyers and people are uneasy and they're unsure, is now the right time? Absolutely, it's the right time with these low rates and with the inventory being low. So when you see something, we always talk about that, be ready. When you see something and you're educated on the market, you have you as a professional leading them, take the advice and the guidance, because what I saw is the house that you look at today and want to think about till tomorrow, somebody looked at yesterday, they're going to buy it today. So you don't want to be the family that loses out in your dream home because you weren't ready to make that decision.
That's exciting to talk about. Now, something happened with our fair housing and our credit this week in a good way, that our president announced a strategic platinum plan. And there's a part of it that affects those of us in real estate. And I know the Realtor Association will jump on this and really get behind it, because it is in credit ratings where you have to have credit. But people who are discriminated against are the ones who just get to our country. They have no credit, but they're getting here and they have a job and a business. And many of them are paying rent. In the future, when this gets put into process, I believe and understand that it's going to require that on-time rent payments will count towards your credit rating.
Yeah, that's a really good thing, because there's a lot of people that don't have credit. And, you know, three things that drive loans nowadays is credit, income, and then the assets. But you need a little bit of all three. So you could have the money and the job, the income, but not have the credit. So you have been, I would say, discriminated against, because without credit, we can't give you a loan.
Right, and lots of condo associations, you can't buy in that association without having, it's no big deal to do a criminal background check for everyone, by the way. That happens in all associations. But the credit background check, if you just get to our country or you just have your first job and you have the ability to pay like you would rent, but to live in that condo now, in all our realtor meetings, we all struggle with, oh my goodness, we can't sell to the first-time home buyer or the first home buyer person who doesn't have credit. They just got to our country, or they just had they've been in a job for 2 years, but they've been really smart on one side of their financials, and that is they've taken on no debt, they don't use credit card. That works against a lot of people. When this gets changed, how much of the marketplace do you think will be opened up then?
I think it's going to open up quite a bit of the marketplace, because first-time buyers, millennials, people moving to our country, that's a big segment of the market right now. So there's more, you know, what they say, Hispanic Latinos. They typically don't have a lot of credit, but they all work really hard. So that's going to help that segment, and they're buying more and more homes. And then, of course, the millennials, the younger people who have preferred to rent, but they're getting to the point now with these low rates, they're starting to have a second look. They're really looking at that as well.
That's exciting news. And in the low price, by the way, I'll come back to Sarasota County. The low price was $122,000 on Emerald Drive. And the low price, and this picture will be up on the video, it was like another shack, except for this week at 2407 Fifth Avenue, it sold for $153,000. And when you look at the shack, I read the marketing information. It said completely remodeled. Like, our first tiny homes are hitting the market. This is not like the tiny home where they come in with the trailer, right, and you know they have the bales of hay and they have a couple trees and an iced tea. That all that staging goes on with these shows. This was somebody who took that block construction, and I don't know the history of it, if it was originally like a block shed that somebody built in the 50s. But they did everything that it needed to take to make it a real property and a tiny home. I may post the interior parts of this picture, right? Because I don't even know if it's more than 700 square feet. But we know it has to have a kitchen and a bathroom, right?
I would love to see it. I'd love to see it.
Okay, I'll make sure I get all those pictures posted, because in reality, that millennial market that you're talking about, they're not looking to spend a lot of time in the house. And I'm hearing a lot where they want land. They want a garden. They want to grow their own food. They want to explore all the land possibilities that they can have. And back to a real quick point, USDA loans. I'm getting asked a lot about that. Even somebody who could buy a single-family home on a $700,000 piece of property, they're actually talking to me about these USDA properties. You want to review those loan points real quick with me?
Yeah, so the USDA just stands for United States Department of Agriculture, and it's a great loan. But there's two big items with that is one, location. You have to be in a rural area. So in our area in Sarasota, Bradenton, usually that means east of Interstate I-75, okay? All of Palmetto qualifies for USDA. Northport, on the other hand, does not. They changed the map. So if you're looking in Northport, it does not qualify for USDA. And then the other thing is income. So it's really a low to moderate income loan, supposedly. So it's income capped. So in other words, you can make too much money and not qualify.
Right.
So it goes by family size, Sandra. So a family of two can make, I think, up to $91,000. A family of three can make a little more, a family of four, and vice versa. So when you start looking, and so you got to do your homework ahead of time, and I can help you do that. So I'll do all the research and check all the parameters to make sure that works for you.
All of Palmetto is USDA?
Yeah, all of Palmetto qualifies, Parish, Ellington. So that's some really good things. There's a lot of newer homes out that way. So a lot of people think of that being, you need a farm, like you said, land, but you can find established neighborhoods with that as well. Ruskin, Apollo Beach. So there's a lot of areas to qualify, zero down. And another little trick is we get the seller to pay some of the closing costs. And you can imagine the biggest thing holding young people back from buying a home is they don't have the money. They may have the job and the credit, but not the money. So USDA, I just did one where the person bought a $280,000 home and they only needed about $800 of their own money to move in. That's less than first, last, and security for rent. There was less money than rent. So pretty amazing.
Wow, good job, Dave. And with all this information, people are going to want to get a hold of you and call you directly. What's the best cell phone number for you?
Best phone number is 941-724-7653, 724-7653. And you can catch me on nights, weekends, whenever you need, I'm here.
Wait, thank you for that. You answered the phone when you're out doing yard work yesterday. And it's near the end of the month, and I know mortgage brokers are working quadruple time getting everything ready to close because things fall apart. They get stitched back together. They fall apart. They come together. But ironically, we have a lot of closings at the end of the month. Your next couple of days are going to be super busy, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. We've been blessed. Like you said, the market's really hot. The refinance market's really hot. So together, you really need Sandra. You need a team because we always talk about it. You're the concierge. You're the boots on the ground. I love hearing your stories, and I love seeing the real numbers every week. It's amazing.
Well, and I appreciate you, Dave. You have a good morning. I know you got to go. And we'll talk, I'm sure we'll talk again this week about specific clients and any final words about the market that happened that I haven't brought up.
Well, just the Fed announced last week that they're going to continue to keep interest rates low. A lot of people track that and monitor that. So we haven't seen rates change from one week to the next. So now still a good time. So everyone always wants to know about the rates. They're still historically low.
Excellent. Thank you, Dave. Have a good day. We'll see you soon.
Take care.